Hey, it's Wolfy-Chan, and I'm back with another anime review. And I will admit, this anime I got to like episode 10 or something before I couldn't finish it, but I may willingly watch the ending of this. But this is another one of those animes that are really, really messed up. This is Shiki, and I'll give you a short trailer to this one.
Then do we have an epidemic?
And that is Shiki. Nice little clip it. Really amazing. Really, really spooky anime. And I think I'll do like a top 10 spooky anime that like I was very close or have not finished yet. Because this is one of them. We're in a small town in Japan. And like some of the people are like, it's a small town, nothing crazy happens. And we kind of follow this one girl who is, I can't remember her name, but she's like really into fashion, really wants to move out after it. In fact, that's her picture after she turns into something creepy. So, our character, she likes fashion, she wants to be on the upkeep, finds out that this guy that moves into town. He's come from a bigger city, and she kind of develops a huge crush slash yandere thing with him. Yeah, that's why I say kind of, because what happens later. And when he moves in with his family, and it's like his mom and I believe his dad, and they move in and they want an easier life, a better life, a simpler life. Well, what happens, I think like a day after he moves in, another family moves into this ginormous castle up in the hill that was being built. And it was finally done. And so, like, they come down from the mountain, or, well, not yet, because stuff kind of starts happening. The girl who was really into fashion, all that stuff, that really wanted to get out of town, was like, they must be fashion designers to have such a big house, and this and that, and she's a little special. But so what happens is that something happens to her. She ends up in the hospital, and then all of a sudden kind of dies. And that's a trend that slowly happens in this small tiny village, that all of a sudden a lot of people go missing. And a lot of people all of a sudden change their jobs from working to day jobs in this other town to night jobs and working there. And people are kind of getting a little bit spooked and are wondering about this. And the dude who just moved into town, this kid, his friend, that he solely, like, he happened to acquire this friend. It was one of those, like, it was a kind of situational thing, like, he didn't want friends, but he got this guy as a friend, and he's a friend kind of. It's really weird how they tied that kid into it. But he, like, develops kind of a friendship with him that the girl that was crushing on him basically kind of immobilizes the teen and drinks his friend's blood, which he slowly becomes anemic and then turns into a vampire as well. This is a vampire thing. So the people that kind of came down in the beginning, one of them had like blackout eyes, like that's a thing in here. And they're like, oh, we don't get out a lot, we're really fit. She's a model, I'm kind of a designer, yada yada. But you find this little girl, and the little girl is basically the queen of the vampire nest. But she kind of goes into this church where a priest is, and starts developing a conversation and all this stuff with him. And I like that kind of side story that she's like, what about redemption? You know, if a soul is never dead or goes to heaven, can it still kind of exist? And it's a lot of metaphysical talk between those two, and it is a really interesting side story. But it is really disturbing. And that's the whole thing about this anime. It is very, very disturbing and very, very creepy. Um, Especially when the townspeople finally understand that this is a vampire thing, and um, the kid who basically just moved in, all of a sudden his family, like, I can't remember if it's his mom that goes missing, um, or because that's the thing with them is that they first get fed upon and then they get turned into vampires. And so what happened is there's one girl that this kid who becomes friend with this kid, his kind of love interest in this, gets turned accidentally also into a vampire. And he's like, don't worry, I'll, feed you. And she's like, I don't want this. I don't want it turned into this, and I will not drink blood. And he's like, but you need to live. You need to survive. And so she doesn't, and I believe she ends up dying. And, like, the kid who just moved into this town turns into a special vampire. It's legit. He turns into one that walks during the daylight, and that's special. But he doesn't need to drink upon blood. It's very strange and not... They don't explain fully everything, but they probably do, like, at the ending of it. But it is really messed up because it slowly builds that almost all of the community is disappearing. So the majority of the community that's still cognitive and understands what is going on basically goes into a vampire hunting spree. So all these people get dragged out, killed, staked. All these vampires that were turned and are in the sewage system or in the cave get slaughtered. Like, this is a slaughtering. Whew. And the girl who wanted to be a fashion person, spoilers, gets run over by a tractor, and that's where I couldn't watch more of it because it was mentally, like, unnerving for me because she's still cognitive. She still talks, a vampire can talk and all that stuff, but she has kind of blacked out eyes and is messed up. But she's begging, screaming, and asking not for any of this to be done to her. Not for her to die because she doesn't want to die. She's not ready to die. She wants more of her life. And she doesn't want to die in this stupid little town. And it's so unnerving to hear the screaming and the, you shouldn't do this, not what this is about. And then getting her head crushed. That's not messed up at all. Oh, God. So that was kind of more of a messed up scene that I didn't know if I should watch it afterwards because a lot of the vampires that kind of come out of the woodwork or that were part of kind of the people, the model woman, she gets, like, staked real fast because she kind of gets this attachment to one of these boys and he lures her to this festival and they decide, like, she gets cut up and cut into pieces and then, like, gets staked. It's horrifying. And even this main doctor that's seeing this pandemic, he finds out that his wife has turned into this. He does experiments on her that are downright inhuman, even if it's for a vampire. Like, it's some messed up stuff. And it's just, and you see her just slowly drain away as he's doing all these experiments. And it's just messed up, man. It is a messed up anime, and this is really one of those, like, it's a Halloween anime. Like, maybe this year during Halloween I'll watch it. I'll watch the ending to it, but it is. Like, when it escalates to killing vampires, it escalates. Like, it's, if I remember right, it's like the last 3 or 4 episodes of the anime when they start going after all these vampires. And it's just a messed up anime. It really is. And I would definitely, 18 and over, recommend it for anybody who really likes horror. But, like, if you're not mentally ready to see people get killed and people screaming to save them, don't watch this. And I just couldn't stand it because there was just some really messed up scenes in it. It gets really gory, so definitely 18 and over. But if you like your horror and you like some messed up stuff, Shiki is definitely for you. So, if you like this video, definitely leave a like. Leave it in the comment section below. Have you watched all of Shiki? Is it worth seeing to the end? If it's not, tell me now, because that way I'll just be like, oh, it's Shiki! Yeah. And or if you have a favorite character, I will admit the little girl who is the Queen of the Covenant is my more favorite character because of almost how innocent she is and the story behind her, which if you don't know it, definitely watch Shiki to kind of find out more about her backstory. And definitely don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe, because I definitely upload every day from Sunday to Saturday, Monday to Sunday. Whenever you need a video, I got you covered with something new, something old, or just something creepy. Especially as Halloween slowly starts ramping up, I may do top 10 of some anime, of that kind of stuff. And if you want to follow me on Facebook or Twitter, the links are down below. And I hope that you are having a very wonderful, wonderful day. Wolfy-Chan out. Bye.